Humanity isn't ready to hear this yet. Every archaeological discovery deepens our understanding of humanity's extensive history, but some finds are particularly astonishing, reshaping our view of the past. From the lost bones of Richard III to the mysterious Serapium of Alexandria, here are 20 of the most insane historical discoveries ever documented. Number 20. The lost bones of Richard III. Richard III was the last Yorkist king of England. He lived from 1452 to 1485. He was known for his wickedness, a man capable of claiming the lives of his little nephews. He usurped the throne of his nephew, Edward V, in 1483, and 2 years later, he perished near Market Bosworth, Leicestershire. Unfortunately for Richard III, his death marked the start of the Tudor age as the king was defeated by Henry Tudor or Henry VII at the Battle of Bosworth Field. Centuries after his death, Richard III is still depicted by history as the worst and most wicked of kings. Shakespeare so wonderfully used Richard III in his work as one of the most infamous villains and the last English king to perish in battle. As if his name forever coated in bad blood isn't enough, the discovery of his remains couldn't be more sad. In 2012, archaeologists from the University of Leicester, along with a group of Richard III enthusiasts, were digging under a parking lot where they suspected the old Greyfriars Church once stood. And there, under the very earth that had seen countless cars come and go, they found the remains of the past monarch. Archaeologists immediately noticed that his grave was oddly shallow, untidy, and completely unroyal in its hurried construction, likely a quick job done by friars under the watchful eye of Henry Tudor's soldiers wanting to move quickly after their victory. Richard III's grave doesn't seem befitting for a king. His skeleton shows signs of 10 wounds, including 2 fatal blows to the head, which matched historical accounts of Richard's tragic death at the Battle of Bosworth. From the skeleton's position, it even seemed as if the past royal was haphazardly thrown and interred, showing that in his last moments, all respect for him was gone. Number 19. The Disappearance of Shanxi. Located in what is now Sichuan province, the Shanxi site was a thriving metropolis covering about 3 square kilometers, equipped with advanced agriculture, ceramic technology, and a vibrant culture of art and worship. They also had a penchant for creating these massive heads, the Shanxi heads with enlarged eyes, nose, and ears. These heads don't look human. Archaeologists believe that they represent non-human races or identities. However, there's no compelling evidence that proves this assumption. Aside from these mysterious heads, another mystery surrounding Shanxi is their abrupt disappearance around 1000 BC. This civilization vanished without a trace, leaving only their extraordinary artifacts buried in sacrificial pits. Now, what could be the reason why a giant civilization capable of creating the most magnificent artifacts disappeared? Some believe they migrated, while others feel a natural disaster ended their reign. However, others also believe that the Shanxi were not from this planet. While this theory is intriguing, no evidence supports this claim. Number 18. Nazca Lines. It's safe to say that most of us are now familiar with the Nazca Lines. Since their discovery in 1927 by Peruvian archaeologist Toribio Mejia Zesp, the Nazca Lines have been the subject of different studies, beginning with American historian Paul Kosak in 1939. It's believed that these geoglyphs were created between 500 BCE and 500 CE and have baffled researchers for decades. Originally thought to be simple artistic expressions, some theories suggest they might have served astronomical purposes, aligning with celestial events like the solstices, or were meant to please the gods. Recently, however, there has been renewed interest in these geoglyphs due to modern technology revealing 168 more geoglyphs. These new figures, which include various animals and humanoid creatures, continue to make the Nazca one of the most interesting people in history. Number 17. The vanished colony of Rowan O. In 1587, a group of English settlers landed on Rowan O Island, now part of North Carolina. Later that year, it was decided that John White, appointed governor of the new colony, would sail back to England to gather a fresh load of supplies for the rest of the settlers. Just as he arrived back in England, however, a major naval war broke out between England and Spain. Queen Elizabeth I ordered every available ship to confront the Spanish Armada, leaving John White with no choice but to remain in England for 3 long years. When he returned, however, he found no trace of the colony of Rowan O. Not a single soul out of the 115 original English settlers was found. He only saw the word Croton carved into a wooden post. So what happened to them? Well, some believe that the colonists assimilated with local Native American tribes, a theory supported by accounts from Jamestown settlers who encountered tribes with European traits and artifacts years later. This assimilation is further supported by archaeological finds at sites like Cape Creek and Site X, where European artifacts have been found mingled with local items, suggesting that some colonists survived and integrated with the Native Americans. Some consider this theory the most plausible explanation for the colonists' fate. Other theories, however, suggest that the settlers fell victim to local tribal conflicts or even Spanish attacks. Meanwhile, some believe the settlers relocated to continue English settlement in the area, despite the initial belief that their presence was gone. Despite extensive investigation, the mystery of the lost colony remains. Number 16. Shroud of Torin. The Shroud of Torin is a linen cloth preserved and revered by many. This cloth, measuring about 14 feet 5 inches by 3 feet 7 inches, allegedly depicts the image of Jesus Christ himself. That said, it's no wonder that it's considered one of the greatest archaeological discoveries, but also one of the most mysterious and debated. Historically, the shroud first appeared in recorded history in the 14th century in France, though its supporters argue it's much older. The path it might have taken from Jerusalem to Europe involves a series of intriguing historical transfers across cities like Beirut and Constantinople before finally reaching Turin in 1578. Ever since its discovery, the shroud has been the subject of scrutiny and skepticism. In 1988, carbon dating tests performed by 3 independent laboratories suggested that the cloth was made between 1260 and 1390, casting doubt on its authenticity as the burial cloth of Jesus from the 1st century. Believers, however, claimed that this dating might be incorrect due to potential contamination and the choice of the sample location for the testing. Today, however, the Shroud of Torin is tightly guarded and is rarely shown to the public. On the rare chance that it is displayed, it's guarded by security cameras and enclosed in bulletproof glass. Although the Catholic Church doesn't acknowledge the shroud, its believers remain loyal. Number 15. The Copper Scroll. The Copper Scroll is one of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of texts discovered between 1946 and 1956 in caves near the Dead Sea. However, just as its name suggests, instead of papyrus, the text of the Copper Scroll is written on, well, copper. This scroll isn't about religious or philosophical teachings unlike the rest of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Instead, it's a treasure map that lists over 60 locations where gold and silver are said to be hidden. Now, this isn't just any scroll. It's made of copper mixed with a small amount of tin, making it more durable but also incredibly difficult to unroll. It was so delicate that cutting the scroll into sections was the only way to read its contents without destroying it. The scroll provides detailed descriptions of various locations. Some descriptions are straightforward, mentioning distances and landmarks, while others are cryptic, almost riddles. For example, one part reads, "In the ruin that is the Valley of Acre, under the steps leading to the east, a distance of 40 cubits, a strong box and its contents of a talent of silver." To this day, we still don't know if these scrolls are authentic. For all we know, these scrolls don't contain clues to treasure. Its authors also remain a mystery to us. And in case you're wondering, has any of this treasure been found? Despite many expeditions and searches inspired by the scroll, none of the treasures listed have been discovered. The locations are too vague, have changed, or perhaps the treasures have already been retrieved. Number 14. Tutankhamun's Tomb. Tutankhamun, the name of this young pharaoh, seems to be recognized by everyone. This shows just how significant the discovery of Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon was. The young king's tomb was discovered in 1922, or at least discovered by archaeologists. After all, this tomb had been ransacked by tomb raiders long before Carter and Lord Carnarvon opened it. Even so, King Tutankhamun's tomb was still brimming with treasures. And, of course, the sarcophagus of the young king was the most significant part of the tomb. Inside were over 5,000 items, including golden chariots, intricate jewelry, beautifully carved furniture, and the iconic golden death mask symbolizing ancient Egypt. Each item in the tomb had a purpose, either serving Tutankhamun in the afterlife or helping him get there. This discovery marked a significant advancement in the excavation and research of ancient Egypt. Number 13. Nasus. On the island of Crete is an old complex with an intricate layout that seems like a labyrinth. This site is known as Nasus. This site is enough to show the prowess of the Minoan civilization with its advanced architectural design and sophisticated urban planning. The palace was built with numerous interconnected rooms, corridors, and staircases, creating a maze-like environment. Exploring the rest of this complex, archaeologists could hardly believe that it was constructed in 7000 BC, thousands of years ago. Nasus was a royal residence but also a political and religious center. It played a crucial role in administering the region, facilitating trade, and supporting religious activities. Its strategic location and architectural grandeur made it a central hub of Minoan culture and power. The buildings on this site were masterfully made out of locally quarried limestone, which elevated its grandeur. Number 12.
Göbekli Tepe.
A site predating the iconic Stonehenge, Göbekli Tepe is one of the most remarkable historical discoveries. Located in southeastern Turkey, Göbekli Tepe was discovered in the mid-20th century and excavated in 1994. This complex of massive stone pillars arranged in circles has baffled archaeologists since it was found. This formation is made of T-shaped pillars that stand up to 18 feet tall and weigh between a staggering 40 to 60 tons. Aside from the stone's impressive size, they also contain the most intricate carvings of animals discovered in the region. What's astounding about Göbekli Tepe is the fact that it was constructed by hunter-gatherers over 12,000 years ago, during a time when humans hadn't even begun farming or domesticating animals. It seems that throughout human history, people and animals have always had close ties with each other. Like Stonehenge, the completion and construction of Göbekli Tepe remains a mystery. This structure predates the Great Pyramids by almost 7,000 years, which means people far less advanced than the ancient Egyptians managed to figure out a way to create a rather sophisticated structure. Aside from its construction, the purpose of this site remains a mystery. Was it a religious site, a place for rituals, or simply a meeting point for the ancient communities that inhabited the land? These questions persist to this day. Number 11. Hidden Chamber in the Great Pyramid. In 2023, archaeologists revealed another discovery that sparked renewed interest in the Great Pyramid of Egypt, a hidden chamber within the pyramid. For so long, we've been captivated by the mystery of these grand structures. Despite decades of being studied, conspiracy theories surrounding these structures seem to be endless. Although made public in 2023, experts discovered the hidden chamber in 2016 using muon imaging, which picked up signals in the pyramid revealing a secret upward-sloping corridor about 30 feet long. With limited space, it's impossible to explore this tunnel without potentially damaging the pyramid. And so, we must wait for answers until we figure out a way to glimpse this hidden chamber without damaging the structure. Any theories as to what it might be? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Number 10. The Kachi Bib. The Kachi Bib is a wall that runs 93 miles across Jordan and is often compared to the Great Wall of China. This wall, however, is far more mysterious. The Kachi Bib was first brought to attention in the 1940s by a British diplomat, Sir Alex Kirkbride, during an aerial survey. Since then, archaeologists have been baffled. Initially, it was considered an agricultural barrier, but newer theories suggest it might have had more significant roles in the ancient landscapes of Jordan. It was made of local stones and stood only several feet tall. Along its length, over 100 towers are scattered, believed to have served various purposes, from watch posts to shelters against sandstorms. The original builders might have used it to mark boundaries or control the movement of nomadic populations. However, there were also claims that the wall might have been used for ceremonial or religious rituals. After all, some of its parts cut across a landscape filled with other ancient structures like giant geoglyphs and mysterious earthworks. Today, aerial archaeology continues to try to piece together the purpose and role of Kachi Bib. Despite being a mystery, this wall remains a significant part of the arid land's rich past. Number 9. Rosetta Stone. A big chunk of rock with random and unreadable scribbles carved into it hardly seems significant, and yet the Rosetta Stone quickly became one of the greatest archaeological discoveries after almost being used as a repair material for a random wall. Imagine that, in 1799, French soldiers under Napoleon were digging in the Egyptian town of Rosetta when they discovered this slab. This stone features the same decree issued in 196 BC inscribed in 3 scripts: Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphic. This was huge because at the time scholars could read ancient Greek but hieroglyphics not a chance. But with the help of the Rosetta Stone, which contains the same message in 3 different scripts, it was made possible. The decree's presence in 3 different scripts meant that scholars could compare the Greek text to the hieroglyphic and Demotic texts, effectively decoding the once-lost language of ancient Egypt. Number 8. The Library of Asshurbanipal. Aside from the pyramids, tombs, temples, and other ancient structures seen as the greatest archaeological discoveries, libraries are considered among the greatest and most significant archaeological finds. After all, libraries are the collection of ancient knowledge. Aside from the Great Library of Alexandria, which tragically was engulfed by flames leading to its disappearance, another chamber houses the most valuable knowledge about the ancients, the Library of Asshurbanipal. Named after the Assyrian king who reigned from 668 to about 627 BC, this library was the largest and most comprehensive library of its time. Located in the city of Nineveh, modern-day Iraq, it housed thousands of clay tablets covering a wide range of subjects, from medicine and magic to literature and law. These tablets were lost to the sands of time until the mid-19th century. That's when archaeologists stumbled upon them during excavations. The rediscovery began in 1850 by the adventurer Austin Henry Layard and his team, who unearthed a collection of these ancient texts that blew the doors off the historical understanding of the Assyrian Empire. Among the most impressive texts discovered in the library is the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known pieces of literature. This epic has provided invaluable insights into ancient narratives and myths. Today, the legacy of Ashurbanipal's library lives on. Many of the tablets are housed at the British Museum, and thanks to the Ashurbanipal Library Project, efforts are ongoing to digitize and study these ancient texts. While we aren't close to unraveling every secret hidden in these ancient texts, which archaeologists claim would take centuries to study and decipher, the existence of the library alone advanced our knowledge about ancient times significantly. Number 7. The Cooch Stone. At Auchnacraig, Faifley, West Dunbartonshire, Scotland, is a large cup and ring-marked rock next to the Cooch farm. This formation is known as the Cooch Stone, also known as the White Hill or the Druid Stone. Archaeologists believe that the Cooch Stone is a Bronze Age rock art that measures a staggering 42 by 26 feet. It was first documented in 1887 by Reverend James Harvey, and yet much about the stone remains a mystery. Although considered some of the finest examples of Neolithic or Bronze Age art in Europe, we don't know precisely what the etchings on the rock mean. Some believe it's a star map or a way to mark astronomical events, but archaeologists have yet to arrive at a conclusion. Despite being discovered in 1887, the Cooch Stone was reburied in 1965 to prevent it from being vandalized. That's why studies about this stone remain scarce. Number 6. Madaba Map. In 1884, the local community of Madaba, Jordan, made a remarkable discovery, the oldest map of the Holy Land in the world. However, this map isn't a piece of papyrus, but rather it's an intricately designed mosaic floor that's now part of the Church of St. George in Madaba, Jordan. Crafted from millions of tiny colored stone pieces, the Madaba Map intricately portrays the Holy Land from Lebanon in the north to Egypt in the south, and from the Mediterranean Sea to the Eastern Desert. The focal point of this map is the city of Jerusalem, which is depicted with remarkable detail, showing significant landmarks like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Tower of David, and various city gates. The discovery of the Madaba Map was a milestone for archaeologists and historians, proving to be a critical tool in verifying the location of several biblical sites. For example, the accuracy of the map was confirmed through various archaeological findings in Jerusalem, including the Nea Church and a major street that runs through the city, just as depicted on the mosaic. To this day, however, the purpose of the Madaba Holy Land Map remains a mystery. After all, why would it even be used as a tile? While some believe it was placed in the church to serve as a guide for pilgrims, experts are yet to arrive at a conclusion. The creators of this map also remain a mystery. Unfortunately, despite extensive research, the answers remain elusive. Now it's time for today's topic. Humanity isn't ready to hear this yet, experts claimed after this unprecedented discovery. While excavating a tomb in South America, this bizarre alien-like statue was discovered. Initially, it was mistaken for being the actual remains of an alien creature because of its realistic appearance. Its origins continue to be shrouded in mystery, and we aren't sure which culture or civilization to trace it back to. While it's easy to dismiss this bizarre alien statue as another hoax, another out-of-place artifact, or even another misinterpreted discovery, experts believe that with the knowledge that we have about our universe, it's highly possible that we really share the universe with other living things that we have yet to discover. The reality is that the existence of extraterrestrial creatures is very much possible. While we don't know if they made contact with past civilizations, the truth is there's a chance that they knew about us long before humanity became aware of the possibility of other life forms in the universe. Other life in the universe far more advanced than us is horrifying and fascinating to think about at the same time. Number 5. Petra. Looking at a photo of the city of Petra, it's easy to think that it doesn't exist in this world. With buildings carved purely out of the earth, it seems like an extraordinary accomplishment, far too remarkable for mere humans to do. Perhaps that's why the city of Petra is easily recognized as one of the greatest archaeological discoveries ever. Originally established around the 4th century BC, Petra was the capital of the Nabatean kingdom. Its location made it a hub of commerce as it was placed on the trade routes that connected the ancient worlds of Arabia, Egypt, and Syria. The Nabateans, known for their skill in water management, crafted an intricate system of conduits, cisterns, and dams, enabling them to flourish in the arid desert. Not only that, but they also created massive structures using only handheld tools. Who would have thought that temples, tombs, and even an ancient theater could possibly be carved directly from a massive chunk of rock? Petra had a long history from its peak during Nabatean rule to later control by the Roman and Byzantine empires. However, by the 8th century AD, major trading routes shifted, leading to Petra's decline. The city was eventually abandoned to the elements and local Bedouin tribes until its rediscovery by Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt in 1812. Today, Petra is not only a UNESCO World Heritage Site but also one of the new 7 wonders of the world, drawing visitors from across the globe. Number 4. The world's oldest known examples of storytelling in Indonesia. I don't know about you, but prehistory is as fascinating as the dawn of the greatest civilizations known to man. Studying how our predecessors survived is quite astounding. Learning that we're not much different from them is also quite intriguing. In 2017, an archaeological discovery on the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia, revealed that humanity has had a penchant for telling and sharing stories since the beginning of time. Inside a dimly lit cave on the island were drawings of miniature buffaloes, known locally as Anoa, and wild pigs hunted by figures that are not entirely human. These figures are part human, part animal, known as therianthropes, showing that just like us, our predecessors from between 44,000 and 45,500 years ago created stories in their heads and shared them with their kin. This indicates that people at the time believed in supernatural beings and had their own beliefs. The discovery of these paintings challenges our understanding of the origins of art and storytelling, previously thought to be centered in Europe. Instead, the narrative might have begun in Asia, spreading across continents over thousands of years. Number 3. Elaborate man-made elevators at the Colosseum. Have you ever wondered about the invention of the elevator? Given that some people still view lifts as a risky means of moving up and down a building, you can imagine the criticism it faced during its development in the 1850s. Elevators weren't really something new. Since the 1800s, mechanized platforms used to hoist things up and down have already existed. However, the idea of these devices being used by people only began in the late 1850s. In 1854, Elisha Otis installed the first passenger elevator in New York. It was a grand event. A public demonstration was even held at the World's Fair, where he hoisted a platform high above the crowd and cut the cable. A fun fact, or should I say not so fun fact, at least it's not fun if you ask Elisha Otis. The public didn't immediately find the idea of elevators safe, and the first passenger elevator installed in 1857 at the Hawout department store in New York shut down just after 3 years because customers would rather take the stairs than the possibly fatal box. It was also a lot slower than today's elevators. For comparison, the fastest elevators today can travel up to 40 feet per second, while the first lifts could only move a mere 40 feet per minute. Despite initial skepticism, this marked the beginning of the Otis Elevator Company, today's largest manufacturer of vertical elevators. Of course, their devices are far safer than the 1850s patent. With that elevator history crash course out of the way, let's now look at the earliest inventions of this device. You see, while the creation of modern elevators is often credited to Elisha Otis, the Romans have been doing something similar for the longest time. Take, for example, the Colosseum. This structure, renowned for its immense size and architectural complexity, was also home to a sophisticated system of elevators and trapdoors known as the hypogeum, or should I say ancient elevators. The hypogeum consisted of a series of intricate mechanisms, including pulleys, ropes, and capstans, that enabled the Romans to orchestrate one of the most famous forms of entertainment, the gladiatorial games. This system comprised around 28 lifts that could transport animals from the dark confines below straight into the heart of the arena. Unlike its modern counterparts, these elevators were man-made and man-powered. These lifts were operated by the sheer force of human strength, requiring up to 8 men to operate a single lift. The lifts were used not only for moving animals but also for elaborate scenery setups, transforming the arena floor into various thematic landscapes, from dense forests to battlefields. The operation of these lifts was so critical that they were likely managed by specialized stagehands, possibly directed by a series of stage managers who coordinated the timing and movement of each lift. Sounds interesting, don't you think? Well, if you want to delve into this exciting part of Roman history, a near-exact replica of the lift system was recently built and is now on display at the Colosseum, allowing visitors to see just how incredible the ancient engineering was. Number 2. The Serapium of Alexandria. The Great Pyramid of Egypt is among the most renowned structures left behind by the Egyptian civilization. However, another grand complex deserves attention, the Serapium of Alexandria. Named after Serapis, a god synthesized from Greek and Egyptian deities, this temple was a center of knowledge and learning similar to the destroyed Library of Alexandria. In this temple, scholars and philosophers gathered, symbolizing unity between cultures. Today, the excavated site reveals just how grand the Serapeum was in its prime, making it one of the most significant structures left behind by the ancient Egyptian civilization. Number 1. The Thevoyich Manuscript. Most ancient texts and manuscripts are deciphered by experts using the tiniest details in correlation. For instance, ancient languages are decoded by relating them to other existing scripts we've learned. Usually, this aids us in unlocking the secrets of ancient literature. But the Thevoyich Manuscript is quite different. It's safe to say that this ancient book is one of the most mysterious manuscripts we've uncovered. It's a centuries-old puzzle that no one has solved. You see, this book is written in an unknown language filled with strange and unknown symbols that look like nothing you've seen in any modern or ancient text. The manuscript is beautifully illustrated with bizarre plants, unknown constellations, and mysterious human figures. The Thevoyich Manuscript was named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who purchased it in 1912. But the manuscript's origins are much older, dating back to the 15th century. Imagine that this book is over 600 years old. Now, where does it come from? Experts believe it was created in Central Europe, but who wrote it and why remains a total mystery to this day. Did I miss other historical discoveries? Feel free to share the most interesting archaeological discoveries you know in the comments down below. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.